Now, good evening, everyone. Thanks for giving me a few minutes of your time. What I want to do tonight is talk about something that surprises patients far more often than it should: dental insurance. And especially Delta Dental, the plan that many of you carry in your wallets right now. Now, let me start with a scene I see every single day. A patient gets a big quote. Maybe they're talking about doing a crown, maybe we're talking about doing an implant, and they head to the front desk and they're feeling proud. They've been paying into Delta Dental their whole careers, and they're thinking that Delta Dental has their back. Insurance has their back. But when the bill and the estimate prints, they really watch their smile fades. The balance is a lot higher than they expected. And their head drops and their brows furrow. And the question that I always get is, why didn't my insurance cover more? And tonight, I really want to explain why that happens, how dental insurance actually works, why it isn't built like medical insurance, and how Delta Dental fits into the picture. And really what smart alternatives you can do so your smile and your wallet hopefully stay healthy. Now, first, let's tackle the biggest misconception. That's that dental insurance is nothing like medical insurance. Medical plans exist to protect you from catastrophic costs: heart surgery, hospital stays, emergency rooms. They come with an out-of-pocket maximum that stops your yearly spending when things get truly expensive. Dental coverage flips that model on its head. Instead of protecting you, it protects the insurer. They give themselves an annual maximum payout, usually $1,000 to $2,000. And once you hit that number, every extra dollar is yours to pay. So there's no protective ceiling for you, only a ceiling for them. So that structure dates back to the 1970s, and incredibly, the dollar amount hasn't budged since disco. And adjusted for inflation, obviously, that $1,000 cap would work out to be just north of $7,000. But here we are, still stuck at that original limit. And when you layer on 3 more hurdles, waiting periods of 6 to 12 months before major work counts, exclusions for things like whitening, veneers, very typically implants, and sometimes something called an alternative benefit, where the plan reimburses the price of a cheap silver filling, even if you choose to do a white composite. And add a use it or lose it cleanings per year. So 2 cleanings per year are free, but big procedures only get a partial discount until you slam it to the cap. So taken together, dental insurance behaves less like insurance and more like a small prepaid gift card with a lot of strings attached. Now, many of you are with Delta Dental. It's the largest player in this market. Delta Dent covers roughly 85 million Americans and 1/3 of everyone who carries dental insurance. Technically, Delta is a federation of 39 nonprofit companies, but they operate very much like for-profit insurers. Their strength is their enormous network. More than 100,000 dentists nationwide, which means staying in network is usually easy. Most Delta plans follow a pattern we called 100-80-50. After you meet a modest deductible, they pay 100% of preventive care. So exams, cleaning, routine x-rays, up to that annual cap. They cover basic care like fillings and simple extractions, at roughly 80%. And major procedures, crowns, root canals, dentures at about 50%. Orthodontics, if it's offered, usually runs 50% as well, but only for children and with a separate lifetime limit. Sounds reasonable until you remember that the whole plan shuts off once it's paid $1,000 or maybe $1,500 for the entire calendar year. So one implant crown can burn through that in a single swipe. So is Delta Dental good? It does a great job covering routine visits and nudges you towards preventive care, which is helpful. It offers several plan types. There's traditional PPOs and HMO called Delta Care. There's even a discount membership called Patient Direct. So there's some flexibility, but when you move beyond cleanings and fillings, you feel those limits very, very quickly. And that's why I hear, but they say they cover 50% of crowns. And I have to answer, well, yes, 50% until their share hits the $1,000 ceiling. After that, it's all you. And let me clear up 5 myths that create a lot of the frustration that I see. And some of this is state specific. And one is that if I have insurance, the procedure is covered. And it's not necessarily true. Every plan has its own list of exclusions, frequency limits, and age limits. And I always ask us to check the benefits before we start something pricey. So the office will bill insurance and I'll just pay for the rest. So for small items, sure. But for anything major, you really need to make sure you have a pre-treatment estimate. Now, it's a free forecast from your insurance that shows exactly what they'll pay and what you'll owe. If insurance pays little, my dentist must be overcharging. That's not necessarily true either. Out-of-network fees and insurance fee schedules differ. So we agree to a lower in-network fee. And other times, you see the gap because the plan's usual and customary fee hasn't been updated in years. It just depends. So people think they're covered immediately. And many individual plans impose waiting periods. So 6 months for fillings, a year for crowns and implants is very typical. And if you need work right away, that clause becomes very, very important. So 50% coverage means half my bill disappears. That's what some people think. And that's only true until you meet the annual max. And after that, you have no coverage at all for the rest of the year. And sometimes, if the timing allows, you can actually split up big treatments between December and January. So for those 2 months, there's 2 different annual maximums for 1 year and then the next. So sometimes you can double up a little bit. So you have 2 other options. So you could do dental savings plans where you pay a yearly membership and you get 10 to 60% of published fees. So it's really good with no claims. There's no caps, no waits. You have in-house membership plans. And many practices, including ours, offer a yearly plan that will sort of help you cover cleanings and you get a discount off everything. And sometimes there may be a cash courtesy that some dentists offer, the same day discounts. And many officers do give a discount if you settle immediately. And there are some financing companies like Care Credit or Sunbit will do monthly payments. However, if they're interest-free when you pay on time, but of course, there are some lower cost resources, dental schools, community clinics, Medicaid for children, stuff like that. And there are some nonprofit programs out there for those who qualify. So here's my checklist. Here's what I recommend. You got to know your policy. You've got to understand annual max, understand your waiting period, and understand your exclusion. So request estimates before you do anything expensive. Try to use timing if you possibly can. Try to wait till December. Obviously, crossing into the new plan year is going to help you out. You can compare alternatives. A lot of times a discount plan plus financing makes a lot of sense or breaks even with these premiums for limited benefits. Every preventive visit that you use, all your visits, your preventive visits, catching stuff early is the best, cheapest dentistry out there. And let me just close with this. Dental insurance, especially giants like Delta Dental, do a respectable job covering checkups. But when the stakes rise, it rarely shields you from the bills that really hurt. So in a sense, the model is stuck in the disco era, protecting corporate risk with $1,000 caps that haven't changed in 50 years. So please, it's okay to, reevaluate. You got to read the fine print, and definitely ask, and we'll try to walk you through your options if you have any questions. And most of all, don't postpone necessary care out of fear or confusion. We can try to strategize the timing, explore your discounts, utilize your insurance as best we can, arrange financing, whatever it takes, because, oral health really is too important to let outdated benefits take precedence. So anyway, thank you for listening.